Hello, hello. I hope everybody's doing well in YouTubeville. Today we are going to be making a little fancy fabric covered Mod Podge container, very similar to this one that I had shown you the other night. Bear with me just a minute. Let me bring that up just a little. There, that gives me a little more working room. Okay, this is just a little spice bottle that I had made, and well, I didn't make the spice bottle, but I took an empty spice bottle, I cleaned it out, and I covered it with little fabric scraps, because if you sew like I do, you have tons and tons and tons of fabric scraps, and they're so pretty that you can't hardly bear to throw them away, but what on earth are you going to do with them? So I decided to add color to my storage. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to make a needle disposal jar, I guess is what you would call it. I took an old prescription bottle. I took my pokey tool, my Spellbinder's pokey tool, and I do have a suggestion. Start with a nail, because I bent the end of my pokey tool. These caps are far more durable than I thought they would be, but I took my pokey tool and I poked holes in it, and I took my sewing awl after the fact because this was quite expensive. I don't remember where I got it now, but it was expensive and it's very sharp. I used it to widen the hole. Okay, so now here's my sewing machine needle. Can you see that? There's my sewing machine needle. And you don't want to just throw these in the trash because that's dangerous. So I'm going to pop it down in there. And so it's going to take quite a while, I hope, to fill this bottle up. Like I said the other night, if you fill this thing up quickly, you might ought to take a sewing class because something is not quite right. Okay, let me close up my little awl here to start out, because I don't want to poke myself and I don't want to lose the pieces. Okay, I'm going to put that away. I'm going to put my Spellbinder tool away, because if I don't, I'll definitely lose those pieces. I'm always looking for my pokey tool. Alright, so what we need Mod Podge, or you could use Elmer's glue, I suppose, a clear dry. I think you could probably use any kind of clear drying glue, but I've got Mod Podge. I did try Elmer's glue on one, and I found that Mod Podge worked better. This one is the glossy. I think I'd probably like the matte finish better as well. Maybe it wouldn't be quite as sticky. So you use that. I better shake it up. So use that and fabric scraps. Look what I have to play with today. And yes, that's too many for what we're going to be doing, but scrum-dilly-ish. Okay, I've got a foam brush that I picked up, I think, at Hobby Lobby when my mom and I were there a couple years ago. I've used this for several things. You just wash it out and let it dry. And then I've got, I guess this is sort of a no-name paintbrush that I picked up at Rite Aid when our Walgreens was a Rite Aid, and they sold some pretty interesting art supplies. But I doubt that I'm going to need that one. So let's get our Mod Podge open. This is the icky part. I need to just throw this part away. And I think I will just go ahead and do that right now while it's on my mind. Okay. So I want to do this in two phases. I want to cover the lid. And yes, I'm going to cover up my holes, but I can come back from the inside and I can re-poke the holes. Okay, so let's start. I like pink. So let's cut up a couple of things of pink. Oh, that's pretty too. I didn't iron this fabric. I didn't sort it. I didn't do anything. I just reached in my scrap bag and I grabbed some interesting pieces that I liked, because with anything that you do with art, it's about what you like. If you do things that you like, that joy and that happiness should shine through, and others should be able to see that. Well, that's kind of what I think anyway. Alright, so I've got a few scraps there. We can keep going after that. Alright, I'm just going to dip this into the Mod Podge, and I'm going to dab it on the top, and then I'm going to matten in the middle. Am I even in frame? Okay, I'm going to lay that right down there on that. Now after this dries, you can go around and trim off. If you want to, you can trim off these edges if they don't want to lay down. I've done that on a couple of the ones that I've made. You just get that good and coated with that glue, that Mod Podge. Okay, let's get, oh, I remember that. I made my son a computer case out of material that featured guitars and rock and roll sayings. So we're going to lay that on there. And again, if these don't stick on these edges, these curved edges, you can go around with your scissors and trim them off. You can do all kinds of things. You can add yarn on the edges. I've done that, as you've seen. Okay, I'm going to get the back of that fabric there. And all you really do to make this is you just work your way around. Okay, I'm going to lay that pretty piece right there. And sometimes you want to get the little extra fibers off. Scrap fabrics do generate little fibers, and you don't really want little fiber nests going around. Alright, let's add, oh, that's a pretty one if I can get it picked up. In frame, yep. Let's add that. And there's no rhyme or reason or pattern, it's just random laying down of fabrics. Of course, I'm sure you could develop a pattern if you wanted to. I like the freeform randomness of just laying my pieces down. What you do want to be careful of is you want to get all your little spaces covered up. See, like right here, there's a little piece of lid. And sometimes after you get a piece finished, you'll find that there's a little piece, little spot that you might have missed, and that's okay because you can always go back. I've done that before. And this is a little bit of a messy craft, but it's not quite as messy as you would think. And yes, sometimes I hold the brush in my mouth so I can get something picked up and added. I'm going to put that little yellow spot right there just for a little bit of punch. And sometimes I do that, and when it gets all dry, I decide I don't like that little bit of punch, and I go back in and I cover it up. It's all about what you like. And that piece doesn't want to stick down. Okay, there's that. You don't want to get so much glue that it looks goopy. That's the difficult part. For me, anyway. Okay. Let's add a piece of green here. Just to cover that little piece up. The fun thing about doing this is you're doing two things. You're recycling and you're making something that's pretty. Pretty and functional and recycling. Three things. Okay. There's one little tittle bit right there. We're going to go with this. That's pretty. And as you're making these, you're remembering all your little projects that you've used these fabrics for, and it's kind of like a little trip down memory lane, and that in itself is neat. I got too much glue on my little brush. Okay, we're going to call that one done for the time being and let some of that dry, I think. Well, let's do this. Let's take, will that wrap all the way around? Oh yeah, let's do that. Okay, we're going to come around this bottom edge. Maybe this will work. I haven't done this on anything else, so we'll try it and see. We're going to come around on this bottom edge with a piece of fabric like this. And that way we'll have it pretty much encased. You take your brush handle and pooch that stuff in, then you don't want to forget and stick the brush handle in your mouth, like I probably will do. It's still in frame, yeah. Yeah, after this dries, I think I'll add some yarn around this little ledge right here. Oops, too much glue. Okay. And that piece right there doesn't want to play pretty. So we're going to take just a wee bit of this. I think I got this from Nancy Zeman's website. I'm going to take a little bit of that. That's not where I want it to go. I want it to go right there and make those pieces behave, because they are not wanting to play nice. Yep. Definitely want to put me some yarn right there, I think, because that piece is just not playing nice at all. But it will do. It is a needle holder. It's not like I'm selling it. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside and we're going to work on this. And you're looking at my workspace and thinking, good grief, Jennifer, you got glue everywhere. Yes, I do, but it does clean up. Okay, I'm taking my Tim Holtz scissors and I'm going to cut some larger pieces. Okay. Ooh, that might make a pretty little accent piece. This, look at this, isn't this just yummy? Yummy, yummy, yummy. I love fabric. I read a thing on Facebook that says I'm not a hoarder, I'm a curator of fine fabrics. Yep, that would be me. Okay, we're gonna do this spot right here. And we're going to get lots of glue on there. And we're going to come in here with this piece and lay it right there, right down to the edge. These don't have to be straight. We're just doing a very abstract piece of recycled art. Okay, let's come with this now, and let's lay it right there. I like pink. Pinks and purples, as my granddaughter used to say. Okay, now let's do a little more glue here. And let's grab, why not a piece of green? Green would be nice. And we're going to dab, 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 dab. Okay, now let's get a pretty piece of brown. This will take a few hours to dry once you get everything done. So what I'll do is, when I make my next little video, I'll show you the end result. And hopefully I won't have any needles to add to it. I do have some sewing projects I need to get in there and make though. But I got to finish cleaning my studio. I said Monday I would finish up the paper art side and get to the fiber art side, and I have yet to do that, so I can't quite conquer the world yet like I had hoped. There's a pretty piece. Let's get some of that. But I have got this side looking nicer, and wouldn't you know, today I found my paper trimmer. You know, the other night when we needed it, we couldn't find it. I've got a desk that has I think it was supposed to be a computer tower storage compartment, and I use it to store some 12-inch paper pads. And I had put my paper trimmer in there. Well, it slid all the way to the back where I can't see, and it was hiding back there, and today I found it, thank goodness, because I couldn't figure out what in the world I had possibly done with it. Let's throw a little bit of this pink in there. So I was glad to have found my paper trimmer, because that little mystery was about to bug me to death, because I kind of, to be truthful, I kind of worried that I might have thrown it out by accident. Because I went through this great cleaning frenzy, as my husband would call it, and I kind of just a little bit worried. Okay. I've used this technique to cover, if you use the little drop-in cubes for your dishwashers, I've covered the dishwasher tub after it was empty, and I used that for storage. I've covered chicken bouillon cube holders. Those make nice little covered things. I've got one for my what do you call them? Q-tips. It's really cute. I think it's in my briefcase though, because I went sketching with my mom last Wednesday, I think it was. I've got a hole right there. I don't want a hole. We went to the park. It was cold, but it wasn't so unbearably cold. That's not working. It wasn't so cold that you just couldn't stand it. And so we sat out there and sketched. And I had taken my Q-tips because I packed my pastels, or my pastels as they say in England. I listened to some YouTube artists who are from England, and they have pastels. So I had taken my pastels. Oh, let's use this. When I went to sketch with my mom, and I don't think my pastels have made it out of my briefcase yet. Let's put that right there. Yes. Pretty little accent. Where we live, there's a music hall and a campground, and so that's where we went to do our first little sketching stint of 2021. And we had a good time. We stayed a couple of hours and just piddled around. I just want a tiny bit of that to cover up that one little hole. Right like that. Now that hole is covered. Now I don't want that string. Okay. Yeah, by the time you finish this, you're going to be covered in glue, but it washes off. We're almost halfway done. How neat is that? So we're just going to keep adding this glue. Go away, string, I don't want you. Okay, I'm going to bring in this nice purple piece. Yep. Right there. Might be a little too blendy with this one, but that's okay. I need to start venturing into some reds and blues and golds, because I have this tendency, and I think most people do actually, if you have a favorite color or favorite set of colors, let's do a bigger one there. If you have a favorite set of colors, you tend to gravitate toward them in almost everything that you do. Or I have found that I do anyway. I'm going to bridge that gap because I don't want that long line right there. And so I need to branch out in my color schemes. I took a color wheel course from Kasha Avery from Everything Art back when I very first started doing YouTube videos, and I really enjoyed that course. Do I remember everything I learned? No. That would be too easy, would it not? So I kind of need to go back and refresh my, I don't want that there, I want it down here, my color wheel knowledge. Do any of y'all ever have to do things like that? I just don't retain things, seems like. And I don't know about y'all, since I've been sheltering at home with this COVID nonsense, not only do I not retain things, but my attention span is terrible. I just can't seem to focus on things. I don't really watch TV anymore either. I don't, at first, when I first started staying at home, I watched a lot of TV. And I watched a lot of news at first, and then I had to just say, no, I'm not doing that anymore, because that just was not healthy for me. But then I found this series, I think on Amazon, called Red Rock. Oh my goodness, 80-something episodes of this police show from, I think, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, somewhere over there. And by the time I finished binge watching that, I felt like I'd known those people all my life. It was absolutely nuts. And when I finished it, I didn't know what to do with myself. So now I don't even turn the TV on most days. I sit in here and do my devotionals, and I do my artwork, and I watch brother sewing videos and Janome videos and things like that, and just keep my little self occupied. There's another one of those pretty little pieces. Two little pretty pieces. Come back out of there. I got these when my friend Russ was closing his quilt shop. I got a bunch of fat quarters, and these were in the fat quarters. And every time I see these, I smile, because it reminds me of my friend, but then it's a little sad that we don't have that quilt store, because it was a really neat quilt store. I enjoyed it immensely. So it's a little sad. Alright, I want that little piece right there will do. Cover that little hole. Dab on the glue. Is that a hole right there? Nope, that's fabric. Okay, what's our next piece? We've got purple. We need to come in with a little green, I think. Ooh, we got this pretty green. Let's get this spot right here. And I dropped it. And see how these overlap? Am I in frame? Can you? Sorry. I'm getting used to this camera. Mike got me a new camera for Christmas, and I'm trying to get used to it. I've been using my phone to do the little bit of filming that I've done. And now I'm learning to use this little camera that he got me. I thought that was sweet of him. He's a pretty good egg. He's always very, very thoughtful. Alright, we're going to add this piece right here. And I want you to look, we got maybe 2 or 3 more pieces and we are done, diddly done with it. How quick was that? Now all we got to do is wait for it to dry. And we have a lovely little art piece. Alright, let's see here. We're going to hope it works. I haven't used this type of bottle before, and I'm noticing it's not laying down on the bottle itself quite like some of the other pieces that I had used. I got a pink piece there. Let's come in with a little yellow piece. And so I'm a little concerned about that, but hey, you never know until you try. So if it doesn't work, I'll come back on here and I'll tell y'all, don't worry about Mod Podging a pill bottle, because it don't work. But I think it's going to work. I don't want the purple thread there. Let's go with, oh yeah, that. Cover that. And spread out all my goopy glues. Look for holes, look for overloads of glue, which there are many because I'm using a sponge brush. Okay. Cover up any places you feel like didn't get enough glue. Got my snooze on. There's a video I want to watch that's coming on here in a minute. Okay, so that tells me I got 5 minutes left to get this done. And I believe 5 minutes is going to be a precious plenty. Okay, so there is my lid and my container. You can't really see them. I don't know, can I tilt them? And then after they dry, after this dries, I'll come back and I'll poke another hole and I'll wrap some yarn around and I will bring it back on to show you. So I want to thank you for joining me for this little experiment. We'll try to do something else a little fun. Later on, maybe next week, we'll make more pockets and little things in our little card, our playing card book. I've got an idea for some places to hide notes and things like that. So I want to thank you for joining me, and if you have any ideas on videos that you would like to see me attempt to do, post those in the comments. I do hope that you will give me a thumbs up on this video and subscribe. I'm trying to build my channel. Check out my blog at creativeartspark.com. I've got one little item in an Etsy store called Creative Art Spark, so I'm hoping to grow my Etsy store and my Instagram, which is also Creative Art Spark. Thank you so very much for joining me, and I will see you in YouTube land next time. Bye bye.